We'll begin here on the dashboard, which shows you your entire device fleet at a glance, designed to be a single pane of glass so you can check the application health and security posture of all the devices across your fleet and drill down to those specific devices that might need attention quickly and remediation. Since we're discussing device visibility, let's drill down to a specific machine. That'll allow us to see what kinds of information are gathered by the Absolute agent running on your endpoints. There are specific information for the version of the operating system, all the way down to the BIOS level, what version of BIOS is running, all the way down to specific hardware details like what's the serial number of the RAM that's installed. Lots of information about hardware, also the applications installed and the versions of those applications, so we know if there are vulnerable versions, what we need to do about those. We even have the capability to look for sensitive data that might be stored locally on those machines and allowing you to react in real time. So we see this device appears to have a number of social security numbers stored, and if that is something we don't want our endpoints to have on disk, we can react to that and simply delete that file. There'll be more about that later in our control section. One of the places where Absolute Secure Endpoint really shines is in geolocation of devices. We can see a device from anywhere in the world, anywhere it can connect to the internet, we can zoom in and find that device, even so far as a satellite image showing very accurately where my test device is located right at this moment, as well as the location history of that device. By default 7 days, we can set custom ranges and see where this device has been traveling, which is extremely useful if you have a highly mobile workforce. Knowing where a given device is useful, but what if a device is reporting in from somewhere it shouldn't be? We have the ability to control individual devices. Let's take a look at the possibility of geofencing. As we can see on our entire map of the world, I can create locations where I want to keep those devices contained. If it leaves that boundary, for instance, the United States, if it exits the United States, I want to be made aware, and that machine can be interacted with more directly. So let's envision that that device that normally operates out of Oregon has now shown up connecting from somewhere in central Mexico. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So what we could do is send a message to that user and ask them if this is something that's being done on purpose. With end user messaging, I can send a message at a scheduled time or right immediately. And I just want to know, is there a reason they have violated this geofence? If the user doesn't respond to that prompt, I might want to go ahead and assume that this device may have been stolen. So what do we do now? We want to freeze that device so that no one can use it and the data is protected on board. I'm going to send out a forensics hold message. This message will be displayed full screen and cannot be bypassed, and the device will remain frozen until someone in the console unlocks it or provides the user with an unfreeze code that they can enter to unlock it and regain access immediately. In addition to freezing the device, I may be more concerned about the data that exists on that device. As we saw earlier, we do have the ability to delete individual files or groups of files from the device. We even have the ability to wipe that device. A cryptographic wipe takes a matter of seconds and generates a NIST compliant certificate that can be shown to auditors, proving that any data on that device is now completely unrecoverable. Even with all these capabilities in place, it's impossible to know what needs your organization might have 6 months, a year from now. So one of the greatest abilities that I feel is present in the Secure Endpoint suite is the ability to run custom scripts against all of your endpoints. Anything that can be accomplished via PowerShell or via Bash for any Macintosh devices out there can be executed against your fleet individually or en masse. And we provide a handful of extremely useful scripts and the ability to create your own custom scripts, because every organization has that few data points that they need to pull back that are specific to them and can be stored in the console or exported to use in other devices. And these reach scripts really open the door to anything that your IT team can dream up. The thing that makes Absolute Secure Endpoint truly unique is the fact that we're embedded into the firmware of over 600 million devices and cannot be deleted. It's an unbreakable tether to that device. Even if the hard drive is wiped and the OS reinstalled, Absolute will put itself back and begin reporting back into the console with what is on that machine and where it is located. And since we know Absolute is going to be there monitoring the device, why not use those capabilities to monitor the rest of your security stack? Things like your firewall, anti-malware, encryption, VPN client. Wouldn't it be great if one of those tools was to be turned off either maliciously or accidentally by an end user and have the agent automatically note that it is not running and bring it back into a functional compliant state without even involving the IT staff? That is what application resilience can do. Here in the settings for a policy, we can define application resilience. Which applications do we want the agent to watch for on the nodes covered by this policy? And what should it do if it finds one that is not in compliance? Let's take the example of a Cisco AnyConnect VPN client. The Absolute agent can ensure that the requested application is running the proper version and can even go so far as to repair that application if it is not able to start. And even if the application has been uninstalled completely, we can reinstall it over the network and bring it back to a compliant state. As you can see, there are over 80 different applications at present that can be made resilient in this fashion, and more being added with each release. Thank you for joining me for this brief overview of some of the capabilities of Absolute Secure Endpoint. For more information or a more in-depth demonstration, please contact us via absolute.com.